Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Sun-Kissed Q&A. This is the Q&A for basically everything after the last snack shot, but basically episode 33. Which is so weird, dude. We're on episode 33.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that including snapshots?
No, well, the snack shots aren't counted in the episodes.
Right.
Oh, do you want to know something funny, which I haven't said to anyone yet, because I was waiting to see if anyone figured it out or, like, noticed. But, I may pop in for the... Okay, I managed to pause it, cool. Your last Snackshot episode, which we'll probably get onto, I imagine, was episode 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Lucky
Lucky for some.
So we've had 33 episodes and technically 13 snack shots, but some of the snack shots are multi-character, you know, like multi things. So
so yes, much has been done.
A loot has been done. Yes. Wow. Hey guys. Questions are now open. If you want to chuck them in the spoiler part of my Discord for Sunkissed, or if you just want to chuck them in the chat, feel free. As I said, there will be possible spoilers up to the current episode of 33, including the snack shots, because I imagine most everyone wants to ask questions to not just me, but also Hydra, who is here with me today, who I think is on this side, so I'll do that.
I'm prepared for questions.
Oh, yes, right side. It was the right side.
I am prepared-ish. I'm not prepared, but I'm willing to answer questions.
Yeah.
Also, hello, everyone. Nice to see you. Hello,
Yes.
Josh, Kaylee, Urkel, Damned.
Tash.
Welcome. And Tash. Hey, Tash. Right. Bring it on.
There was, also, just for people watching, because probably anyone here is like the most of the hardcore viewer live stream Twitch watchers. Sorry about last Monday. We had a couple of people who were a little bit snowed under with work and other things, and if it was just one person, I was considering kind of going ahead with it, but it was a couple of people, and it's just like, we're doing a fun Halloween thing where like everyone's clans are like back to front, and I don't really want anyone to miss that, so I decided to take a break, and we'll do it next. Honestly, the one-shot Halloween special thing that we're doing will probably end up being like 6 episodes, couple of months maybe, like just
a new campaign, basically.
Yeah,
33 episodes.
The way everyone RPs and the way we run the show, it's so just like at ease, where it's just like, we're just gonna meander.
Mm-hmm. Damn man, the serious question of how annoyed will Tess be when she finds her car is gone? Well,
I mean, that's a question for Vandy, really.
That is, if she knows.
I'm not sure Vandy knows.
I don't think she has. We've dropped lots of subtle, not so subtle hints.
Yeah.
But I think she'll be relieved because she won't have to pay extortionate insurance anymore. Not that she was insured on it anyway, I'm sure.
Josh was streaming when I told him.
Right.
I was like, hey Josh, I'm gonna send you a message. I like DM'd him, and he pissed himself laughing.
Yeah, it's quite funny. To be fair, it's quite funny, but you know, it was a nice gesture.
Fun fact: we had the idea mid snack shot. So while we were recording the snack shot, the idea was proposed, and it was like.
Yeah. Yes, on many levels. Like Mac was the one that said yes, not Hydra.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, Hydra said yes too. I was there.
Hydra definitely said a bit of yes too. Yeah. But Mac was very happy to do that. Like you're picking up like your other half's in terms of your psyche's little sister. Why not pick them up in a pink sports car? They might like that.
Yeah, and I like as storyteller GM. I was like, God damn, that narratively is really satisfying and wonderful. So I was like, hell yeah, let's do this.
Word. Yeah, no, I don't think anyone would argue with that. Very satisfying. Very satisfying.
I was gonna say, like, I think like during that was the most like breaks we took, like we've taken before in a snack shot. Yeah. Usually it's like one straight record, or like one, or like maybe one break if we need to, like, you know, transition a scene or something like that. But I think it worked quite well.
Yeah, it glued together well. There was quite a few like real scene transitions, but like for the music, and also for me to like just take a couple seconds to. Like, I'm happy to swap between the two, but it's nice to have 30 seconds to just be like, okay, now I'm here in your head. That's nice. If we were to burn Mac at the stake, would Hydra be unharmed? I would be hurt deeply.
There you go.
There you go. That's that one.
It was a quite heavy episode. I was there during the premiere of the live stream, and I have to say, the number of people who were right up until I put you in the hospital and I was like, you're over. Everyone was convinced you were going to go kill Grandad.
Yeah. I mean, Mac had been just killing people without caring too much, so it kind of, I could see where they're coming from. Well, and that was certainly an option.
It was like the thing we were alluding to.
Yeah.
But actually, we were actually talking about something else.
Yeah, we were sneaky.
Yeah.
Sneaky snakes. But, you know, there was a reason that wouldn't have worked. So, you know, that would have just resulted in, an Inquisitor's gone missing here. What does that mean? I wonder.
He already killed his partner, so.
Yeah.
Well, not really partner.
Yeah, true. Killed a dude.
So that was Steve, I think. I can't remember what his name was off the top of my head.
Don't think we got a name out of him.
I'm pretty sure when he came back, he shouted out his name.
Okay.
He was like, "Yep, back." And yeah, then there was the whole kind of like, "Yep, blood is blood," and then he just shoots him. And that was basically like, I'm a vampire hunter, basically. This is Grandad, Frank. He was like, his kind of thought process there was, I'm a vampire hunter. I think I know what I have to do, but I have to square it with myself first. So that like because they were here to investigate like turbulence and a few suspicious things that have happened and all that type of thing. And they were basically like observing to see how much there was like infrastructure of vampires and you know, how like powerful and serious it was and stuff like that. And then, you know, he like got sideswiped and he was like, okay, well, need to figure this out. This guy I've been assigned with is, you know, going to start reporting back, and I need time to think, so I'm just going to kill him. What happens if a member of the Inquisition is turned? Oh god, I don't even know.
Yeah, that'd be like a whole lot of willpower checks to be like, do I kill myself or do I use my newfound powers to turn into Blade?
Yeah.
I think the former is more likely, but depends how warped they get. Anything's an option, really. I'm not supposed to ask questions in this Q&A, but I'm going to do it anyway.
No, you can.
Because I'm a maverick. I wonder what Grandad's reaction to Rose disappearing from hospital, and like he'll know that she's not in the morgue. Like he'll know that she's dead. The body's not in the morgue. That's going to be pretty obvious, and I don't think Marlowe would try and hide it because
I mean it's
can't.
It's something that Grandad was alluding to.
Yeah.
Because like, okay, so I did mention it at some point when someone asked me, but this is on a more like broad people watching kind of capacity. So Rose was basically in a coma and not getting back out of it. Eventually, if we'd have carried on with Mac and Marlowe, eventually he'd either have to decide to do nothing or turn her. Like, ghouling wasn't really an option in this instance.
And by turning nothing, you mean like the plug being pulled effectively, and
yeah, I mean there was no kind of like waking up for her.
Rather depressing, but makes for good TV.
Is the town still locked down with the prince leaving the planet? The town is less locked down, I'd say. It's possible to get out. It's not super difficult, but yeah, it's still a bit. It's not as bad as it was. I'll say that. Especially at the moment, because they're kind of like figuring out what to do after the prince died.
Yeah, there's going to be all sorts of like high up power struggles. That
question for host and also for Josh: will Cass cry when he finds out that bromance is over? If not, will he cry when he finds out that Mac sired someone before him? I don't know. I think
that's a tough one.
I think Cassius valued Marlowe. We'll go with Marlowe for now because that's who was in the driving seat most recently. Kind of,
Yep.
I'd say Cassius probably valued Marlowe the most, and there was definitely like a little camaraderie. I'm not sure whether that was just like we're surrounded by crazy females and we have to stick together, or
it's hard to know, really. Yeah. It's hard to know, and I think just because like Tess is so wildly different that encourages a little bit of camaraderie there.
Yeah.
My thoughts, and I'll let Josh correct me on it, is that if he didn't think that Marlowe was like super useful, the whole like the way the maze went down, and that was with Mac.
Yeah.
I get the impression that he thought there's something more to this guy.
Yeah.
But it's not to say that he's like, oh wow, he's super useful. It's just like he's not exactly what he seems, or he's more useful than he seems. But I don't know how useful, because I don't know. That's my assumption as to what he thought, which I think might be there, but. Yeah, it was. I think Mac will miss the bromance probably a bit more than Marlowe.
Yeah,
I didn't really. Marlowe will like miss the coterie as a whole.
Yeah, I think Cassius was intrigued also by the like Josh said, the kind of like details of Marlowe and Mac and what the hell they were and how they're like all their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disappointed to never find out more about Marlowe. Well, a little bit of mystery makes him interesting.
Well, I mean, we did as viewers and everything. So. And Cassius can have a mystery. If he's really interesting, he can freaking go to Chicago and ask Marlowe later.
He can go and find him after he's done city stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe when Granddad dies of old age, Marlowe might come back one day.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he'll be like, 50 years have passed. It might be safe. Who knows? But it won't be. But I should probably say that he's not coming back during this campaign, just to make that. I think it's good to set expectations there rather than dangle it.
Yeah.
As like it's not happening. And he was my first Malcavian, Kaylee.
Yeah.
He's my first anything in VTM.
We talked through a few different like Malc ideas at the beginning. the one we were considering was an artist, a street graffiti artist who painted prophetic things and like of possible futures on his graffiti.
Prophetic Banksy.
Yeah. A bit like the dude in like my kind of like image, like not personality or anything, but just like similar to, is the guy in Heroes who kept painting the future when he got high.
Yeah.
Which I really liked in Heroes. That was when Heroes was good for a season. But yeah, like I thought that would be really interesting, but we decided to go with
I like that. I think that's a good idea to run with, and maybe one day I would consider that. But
I would say I understand why you prefer to go in a different direction, but I think now if you'd have done the VTM before like this, and we were starting a new campaign and everything, you're like, I want to play a Malcavian. I think you could do that now.
Yeah, I would be happy to play him now.
I understand why you're hesitant, because
Yeah, I would still have some reservations, but I would definitely be more confident playing something like that now. For sure. But yeah, playing Malk first, chose hard mode. Yeah. Bearded detectives, all right.
Malcavians. Because I've played a Malcavian, not for long, so I didn't really get into the depth of the character, but I think Malcavians aren't as hard as people claim they are. In general, the problem is that everyone plays the same type of Malcavian, which is basically the Joker, like random lol type thing.
Yeah. I think that's what helped me, is having never played or seen a Malcavian. Yeah. So I just read about it and I was like, okay, they're people with a mental disorder more than anything. From what I read anyway, that was more how it came across to me. So they were someone that was, disturbed in some sense. And so that's kind of what I went with. And then I get, having watched a few things, I get how it's an easy character to just sort of lol memes everywhere, and there was a little bit of that with Mac for sure, but I like Malks, they're cool.
I like all of them except for Ventru, really, and I'm working on liking Ventru. The problem for me is I hated Toreadors for the longest time, just because I thought they were so uninteresting, and I never thought about playing a character as a Toreador, and until I started storytelling this, because this is my first time storytelling VTM, and I was like, I want to make some Toreadors who are interesting, So I made Lamia, and I made, Lamia's pretty standard for a Toreador for the most part. But Nathan Fortuna isn't.
Yep.
He's a weird one.
There's definitely ways to twist all of them to make them an atypical version of what you expect, and I think that's definitely where the fun is. Just making something that you, even if someone else has done it out there, you feel like you're the first, or you feel like, hey, this is my idea, not just like it's kind of the opposite of 40k, really, where everyone's a trope all the damn time.
All the damn time.
Instead, I think VTM's got some nice scope and freedom to be like, sure, I'm a gangrel, but I don't know, I'm an ex-boxer or something, and I'm, you just do some stuff with it.
Yeah.
Take some thinking, no, for sure. We did some real thinking.
Yeah, Kale is a good example of more like random lol Malcavian. Like because he's an NPC, he's not a player. We don't see him all the time, so you don't see his like more reflective or just everyday side, we see him interacting with the players. So, are you afraid to play Ventrue after finding out that I hate them? I don't hate them. It's just they're kind of boring.
Will the idea of street artist come back in the form of enigmatic A? I gave Captain the hint that my next character's name will begin with A.
Oh.
That's all I told him. But
no,
I'm not a street artist.
Also not Malcavian.
Also not Malcavian. Yeah, I wanted something very different to the previous experience. So that's all you get. That's all you get. On the surface, there's definitely some joy to playing cliches as well. Like, I'm not saying... part of the fun for me is the mental gymnastics of trying to think, like, what can I do to twist this a little bit, and do something. It was easy with Mac and Marlowe in a sense, although it was hard in another sense, just because I didn't have anything to go on other than just thinking.
Okay, I'm just gonna send you a DM, Hydra, very quickly for a phrase I was thinking of saying about your new character as like a teaser.
I'm all up for some cryptic clues here. He likes blood. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Okay. Like that. Would you like to do the honors of a little teaser about your character, your next character?
Sure. We haven't seen him yet, but we have met him. Cryptic clues.
Yay! No, that's gonna piss everyone off more than just not knowing.
Totally. Oh, what happened to Christine? That's an interesting one. I assume she's not dead. Oh my god, she might rock up to the coterie, but hopefully she doesn't know where he lives.
Know, yeah,
good.
She doesn't know.
That's a good thing that he didn't show her there. Yeah. Yes. PHEW.
Is it the drunk Trabir? That would be fun. Alex. There's one of those things, you know. It's just kind of like it was. Can I say that was one of the weirdest snack shots for me so far, or like characters to play, because I had to play a drunk Trabir. You know, like drunk Trabir. I was just like, oh, it's kind of how it is.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed that. It was also a nice revelation as well as to solidifying what happened. So
I was so worried that it wouldn't come across right because the drunk Trabir isn't explaining it very well. But so I was kind of like, yeah, I'm happy to re-explain it as many times as I need because it was a little bit garbled. I think everyone got the gist.
Yeah, it was one of those conversations where, like, if he had explained the specifics, it would have made less sense. So in a way, him being a bit drunk and just saying the moon and the She-Ra need to meet, and then you get a battery and you bang them together, and that was like, okay, my brain can process this.
I did fuck up because I broke myself with the
It's a secret.
This is a secret. I don't know. It's just one of those things where, like, when I did that, and I was like, it's a secret. I could see it like vividly in my mind. It just, you know, like a scene in like Monty Python or Blackadder or something like that.
It was that sort of token drunk moment where two of you arrive in at like 3 a.m. and like you make a huge noise and you look to each other and like. Before you keep moving, it was very much that sort of vibe.
Well, and also because Marlowe was playing along with it, pretending that he didn't know. And,
Oh yeah, God, and they both rolled a 0.
Yeah, because everyone knew about the maze, it made it funnier that he was being so secretive about the damn thing.
Yeah, because like, I don't know what.
Everyone watching knows about it, knows pretty much everything about it, and all this type of thing.
Yeah, I think he was just a bit nervous to be like, yeah, we've gone in there and touched everything and taken some of your toys.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to put himself in a position to be like, no, we didn't take the horn. Better to just kind of pretend that nothing happened. But yeah, that was all good.
Still thinking that Enigmatic A might be a Thin Blood.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the Thin Bloods. I think one of the problems with Thin Bloods is you have to be a vet vampire player to find them interesting. Just because they like one of the things that you'll always notice, and I was the same way, and I still am the same way. With VTM is disciplines are fun, yo. They're superpowers. Ain't no one gonna not be using them and want them. So like, when you're a Thin Blood, the part of the point of it is being underpowered, and unless you specifically pick a discipline, you only get like the basic disciplines, and it swaps around all the time depending on what blood you drink. Which, honestly, I'd probably play it different as well. I wouldn't play it quite like that. I'd have it be a different way.
We'll find out when we kill the Thin Bloods.
Yeah.
If we don't get killed by the Thin Bloods. I assume that they're on the chopping block, but we'll find out.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know anymore. I don't know. Everyone's trying to kill everyone right now, so are they that bad? Who knows?
You can kind of understand their perspective, you know, from a meta view as opposed to like a coterie specific.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you cull people a few times and they tend to not be very happy, even after the first time. So that's kind of, it's kind of understandable.
I tried to layer it in early on that the Thin Bloods were being shat on, but I felt like if I kept mentioning it, so that when when the reveal happened, people could be like, "Oh, it's because you know." I was like,
there was definitely enough things pointing to them to be like, "Oh, yeah, we need to investigate them." But Hydra's assumption was that there was someone that hired them to do it, but I wasn't knowledgeable enough to know that the Daywalker would be a Thin Blood until we found out in the Doodah.
Yeah. Well, it's very real. It was very realistic and true to roleplay and true to like you guys playing your characters. In that, while the whole fire event was like a big thing, at the same time, it wasn't priority number one. So the fact that it kept being like, we kind of know what thread to follow, but there's so many other things that are happening that we need to like keep an eye on and deal with. And
like Mac wanted to find that, but then learning that the front were on the doorstep and someone's nearly making a move, it's like, do you want to find the murderer of people that died a few weeks ago? Or do you want to find the person that's going to try and kill you tomorrow? It's kind of like, even Mac was sensible enough to be like, okay, well, these people probably need a talking to. Yeah. Interested to see who can wreck the Hashen with so much ease. I'm curious to find out who the hit squad was and how they were so awesome and stuff. It's kind of scary. But then we had the cryptic clue from Carrion that the Blessed aren't going to be doing anything for a bit. So who knows what that means?
Well, let's be fair. That was a cryptic clue from Kafka. Because Chrys was there.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that was a please ask more about this for payment.
Well, it's a little bit of, like, so I noticed some people kind of being like in the comments and chat and that, like, not really understanding the Carrion's take on the whole old god thing and the like the Blessed and all that. Basically, consider them like they're a little bit in a way like samurai or ninja or like pirates with a code, right? And you stick to the code. And if it's one of those things where it's like, if they break the rules once, no one will ever trust them again, and therefore their entire economy and stuff break down. And Carrion isn't just established in this city; it's more of a wide network thing. So this is like the Carrion, the Weirgate chapter of Carrion.
It's fair. They're oddly respectable.
I'm waiting for the Malk Nutter mercenary squad. Yeah. There was. I think there was. How many dead Hashen were there? I think it was 2. No, 1.
I think there were 2 guards, but they weren't.
The 2 guards were human.
Yeah, they were human. Yeah. And then I think there was a guy.
There was.
Might have just been.
It's his. I know his English version of his name is Lion.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Was there 2? So there was a headless person, and then the guy that had his chest punched out.
Yeah, the guy who had his head. The guy who had his chest punched out wasn't a Hashen.
Right. So there was 1 Hashen and 1 bad guy.
Let me look at my notes because I need to remember what his name was. Although I'm sure someone.
Yeah, that's what Tash is saying.
Assad.
Yeah, it was the Aslan-esque character. Carry on, Weirgate.
Yeah, it was the if Weirgate gets wrecked, doesn't that mean that the Nos get wrecked? No. Honestly. They're Nosferatu. If you know VTM well enough, you know that they probably have like escape routes and contingencies and...
I do wonder what deal they made with the old guard to... Probably a big favor or something to keep the secret.
Well, they didn't keep the secret.
True.
They're like this was the interesting thing because like it makes sense in character, especially, but like they didn't keep the secret. It was just it's such a big piece of information. Yeah. No one was willing to pay the price. Which is like a really big favor and that type of thing.
Yep.
So
and they're not blabbing about it because of their standards.
Yeah, they all information has a price, and the more juicy the info. So one way is like if you went up to if you like diablerized Calig, and then went and told Kafka, that would be a massive piece of information that they'd sell for a hefty price. People may never pay that price to find out, so your secret may be safe with them,
Yep.
Yes, and Chrys is the captain of misunderstanding things.
And of not doing things.
And also of being really bad at bartering.
And dealing with things. But she's improving with time. I think.
Yeah, she was better last time with Kafka.
Whoa. She has been doing lots recently. In comparison, she met her maker, so to speak.
Yep.
Cool guy.
Yeah, I like Vassia.
Yeah, he's oddly chill. Both me, I think more Mac than Marlowe wonders what's going on behind the scenes there.
Yeah.
But maybe he is just chill, but he's gotta be a bit nasty, right?
I mean, he's over 200 years old, so you'd assume so, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, he's done a few things that are, they have a valid, viable, like, excuse or reason or whatever. But they are pretty fucked up, so... was the coterie name purely in-game decision? I think you guys talked about it.
We talked about it for a bit. Yeah. Memoria was in memory of what we had basically, or Winona.
Yeah.
So that was the thought process there, but that goes without saying.
It also fits in with like gravestone and the like what gravestones are, which is like in memoriam.
True. It's quite thematically fitting.
Yeah. And there's a couple of, well, the wilds were called the Encroaching Wilds by Gorban, and that name is kind of stuck, but they're also just the wilds to you guys for the most part, so
yep.
Yeah, might be able to see Kafka on her own. Like, no one trusts her to go and see Kafka by herself anymore.
Nope. Although, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
What was Mac Marlowe's best moment? I assume you mean from like the bit I enjoyed the most?
Yeah, are you talking about Mac Marlowe or Mac Marlowe or Hydra?
True. The maze scene was really cool just because of like how it unfolded, but the conversation with Kale where he took the job was probably
your favorite.
It was probably my favorite.
Yeah,
just because the conversation was just funny.
You talking about the first conversation, right? Not the
the first conversation. Just because that was just great. I'm just pleased with how everything about it, and yeah. But I think seeing like show wise or like slightly larger chunk size, it would probably be the maze session, just because of it going weirdly well and really getting a vibe of like this coin might be magic. I don't know. It was just like,
well, yeah, it went weird. It went weirdly well because the coin chose the right directions quite quickly.
And we found things, and like there was a real teamwork there between Mac and Cass. Like he would never have twigged about the book thing and going in with the book and the book even being relevant. So he just would have been like, "Yo, I found 2 books. Let's take them to the library or something." But yeah, so that was just all good. And then putting the name on the wall too. That kind of was a bit of a whim from. It was one of those like, let's do something a little bit. What would a Malcavian think of this? Like, oh, there's squiggles everywhere, but it's got to be signatures, right? Because that's what squiggles are.
That was because I didn't want to make it too obvious, but I did.
Yeah.
I also didn't want to make it impossible because.
Yeah.
Like, what's it called? Puzzles are no fun if they're like. It's the adventure point and click adventure game, conundrum where it makes sense to you as a developer, but that's because of your thought process. Like, not everyone has the same thought process. So you're like, how should I know that I put the rake on the ladder? You know.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make it like vaguely a thing, and then if all else fails, there can always be a roll, and
Yep. No, I'm glad that turned out. And yeah, the last snack shot is definitely a highlight because I like the way it went.
And speaking on Kaylee's favorite moment was the last snack shot. I'd agree. I think that last snack shot was really strong. But if we're talking like more, if we're talking more like scenes and stuff, I have to say like the Gorban meeting was a strong one for me.
That was good. Yeah, that was good.
I think like it was, but I will say it wasn't quite as much like a Mac moment, I guess. It was more like the whole Cyclops thing, and then like.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was that was highly amusing as well.
It was that character, which I think Vlad was the one who flew away, and then the one who stayed with them was Ivan.
Yep.
The guy who liked Cyclops.
Yeah, I would agree that the last snapshot's probably the biggest highlight, because it was just very wholesome's not the word, but satisfying.
Yeah,
it was like sort of a nice ending of a film that you want to end a certain way, and you didn't see it coming, but hopefully when it happens, you're like, I can sleep now.
So you didn't like hear this or see this in the moment, so you would have already seen it and rewatching. I was worried that the like post-production I did at the end of the snack shot was a little cheesy, but at the same time I was like, fuck it, you know, we'll go for some cheesy, because it's like, I think anyone who was like, oh, what's Sunkissed, and they watch that episode and they're like, who's this guy who's going off, and you know, like, you may pick up little bits of like important, like, heavy scenes, but that ending where you have the swelling music, and then when you stand up, that's where because that's post-production from me, like sound editing, like putting that music in. I timed it so that the swell happened as you stood up and then moved off, and I'm like, anyone watching that without watching the rest of the show probably would consider that a bit cheesy and a bit lame. But I feel like anyone watching it who's watched the whole thing would be like, yeah, no, that it hit right. So
yeah, I think one of the things that makes it, just the fact that the character was so torn, and just Marlowe was not happy with what he is, or anything really, and everything was just hard work and stressful, and wanted to kill him, and everything was bad and nasty, and the idea of him going away in that fashion, doing something altruistic to a point, and having company while doing it. It's one of the comments on YouTube. It's a nice thought that he's not just going away alone. Definitely.
I will say I have exits in the wings for all of the characters. If a player like suddenly has to leave the show, or you know, like, I generally have one or two options for like satisfying exits, or you know, like endings to characters. So, you know, because like the worst thing is just like a wet fart of an end for a character or whatever. It's I think it was Kaylee said usually hate losing losing characters grown attached to. This time something that didn't, but this time didn't. That's rare. And yeah, like that was kind of the plan when we decided to have Marlowe kind of like step out and go in a different direction with Hydra, as
and Marlowe was maybe in some ways suited to being wrapped up, what with him being just the way he was, let's say. But yes, so conversations have been made and balls are rolling and things are in place.
One of the exits I had for Mac, sorry, not for Marlowe. Like if like towards the beginning, while Mac was still running around in control, one of the exits for Mac was a like driving in a car to like where he gets like stopped, and then have you seen The Godfather? When they all like they're at the toll booth and all those guys with machine guns are just like, and that was because it's so thematic for Kale and for Mac. I was like, yeah, that would be a good.
Yeah. I've got to quickly check the oven.
Oh yeah, go nuts.
I'll come back for 10 minutes, but I'll be right back.
So Enigmatic A will appear after the Halloween episode, I mean season. Yeah, so in like a year after we finish the Halloween one shot, will be the new character for Marlowe. Well, for Hydra, sorry. Marlowe is, yeah. Literally watched the Godfather trilogy for the first time yesterday, so you know what I'm talking about. When the older brother / the son of the Godfather, like it like burns off through, and then he stops at a toll booth, and the toll attendant like ducks down, and then all the gangsters come up with like Tommy guns. Sonny, that's his name, Sonny. Thank you. That was gonna be a that was gonna be like a Kale taking out Marlowe or Mac like scene, and I thought, you know, because we made the joke with the machine guns and everything, I thought it would be a fun like exit for Mac. Probably would have been a bit more silly, but it would have been like satisfying narratively as well. And so yeah, so as I said, like I have exits for all of the characters as like possibilities in the wing, and sometimes they change depending on like what happens. But the one thing I don't want to do is like when you're playing like 40k or Call of Cthulhu or like certain TTRPGs, even D&D, because D&D is very combat heavy. A character death. Also, character death in D&D is cheap as fuck because they always come back, and who cares if they come back? You know, it's like, oh, I'm back again. Yay! Hey, what's up? You masquerade, my boy. Defiance, jeez. Yeah. But because Sunkissed especially is very RP heavy and very character based and all this type of thing, it's one of those things where it's like I wouldn't be satisfied with just, like a very short death or like a death with a random death without meaning would feel cheap for all of the characters because of how the story is. So I don't have anything scripted, but I have things kind of I make sure I have exits for all the characters kind of like mapped out to a certain extent. If they do like run into trouble and just die, then it happens. But if it's something where it's like, where one of the players is like, oh crap, I can't play anymore, I've got work on Mondays at that exact time, so I'll never be able to make it again. It'll be like, okay, let's do it. Let's do a proper farewell then to the character. Well, what is most interesting exits, like top 3 you have, which is discarded by now? Do I have them for NPCs? I have them for NPCs as well. I mean, I had one for spoilers for like halfway through the series, or maybe in the 20s. I had an exit planned for Clay.
I liked his exit. That was nice. I like the Lamia death too. Just as much as one can enjoy such a moment, murder hoboing your way around, but it wasn't
really murder hobo. No, like there was a lot of preparation and thought that went into it. So yeah.
It was
the actual scene where it happened was a lot more intense than expected, but
yeah, it was intense, definitely. Yeah, the way the 2 messy crits from Tash and myself worked out were kind of that was. I liked the fact that we were pretty shook by it.
Yeah,
and I'm glad that I didn't go to gravestone afterwards.
Yeah. I will say actually, one of my favorite Marlowe moments, one of my favorite Marlowe moments was just his interaction with Gravestone and then falling into the river afterwards. It's so little, but it was just really nice how it all played out, because it was just, you know.
Yeah. He really, like, it was just not on his mind that he was speaking to a deity. He was just like, it's so in his head with like, Cass, what the fuck is going on? And it, like, I think if Gravestone was a giant wolf at the time, he would have been a bit more like, oh my god, you're a giant wolf. But instead it's like, it's some sort of Macbethian torture of, like, you know, it was just more of like, oh fucking jeez. And he was up to here with Macbeth.
Yeah. The interesting thing about Gravestone, which I know at least one person's picked up because they mentioned it, is Gravestone, because Gravestone is a bit of a religious hermit crab, you know, like goes into a religion and like forms the shell around itself, and then is the religion, or is the like religious symbol or whatever. It's interesting because someone was like, oh, in Gravestone's case, it may be that shape dictates behavior. Because like whenever Gravestone takes the shape of someone else, there's a certain amount of behavior exhibited that is similar to that person's behavior.
Yep. Observed that.
Which, you know, I like, it's something which I've had in my notes, is basically when Gravestone takes the form of another person and like that kind of thing, he takes on their behaviors, like their kind of tics and their nature a little bit.
Yep. Notice that. That's been a nice touch with him.
So like Tess was kind of a bit sassy and a bit, you know, and then
bit hot.
Lamia was kind of like dangerously flirty, and then Clay was annoyingly enigmatic.
Yes. Yeah.
Which, you know, it's just fun. I like, oh god, I really enjoyed Clay, and it's. I always had that storyline plan for Cassius and for Clay, but it was difficult to get to that, like once Clay had been around for a while, and I really liked his character and I really liked his story in that. I was like, man, why do I have to be such a dick? And like if things go this way, he's just gonna die. So yeah.
That was a nice goodbye as well for him.
Yeah.
Satisfying as well. It was good.
We need a pre-Sunkissed campaign for more Clay. Yeah.
Truth. I can do a French accent.
I can't.
However, depends if you want like Monty Python offensive French accent.
Well, that is a little bit what Saturday's accent is like, to be fair. It's just
true.
It's just a very soft,
more subdued,
subdued accent. So
not quite. Is it?
Yes, it's not as offensive as that could be.
I've watched a lot of Allo.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of it. So most of my European accents are on par with Allo's silliness. If you've seen my fantasy campaign, you'll have seen the German accents, which were quite sad and quite funny. Yes, so yes, I can, but I won't be Saturday.
I mean, yeah, you're not Saturday. It's
no.
Also doesn't start with an A.
Yeah, and remember the cryptic clue.
Although Saturday's real name might start with an
A. Might start with an A. Yeah, true.
But yeah, so like for example, while we're talking about accents, we have Mr. Hung. Hey, how you doing? It's Mr. Hung. Like,
Zabulba.
It's what are you doing here? It's good to see you. Hey.
It's a great cliche, to be fair. I've put many Eastern Europeans in shops.
I just like I couldn't resist when I thought of the joke. Like, you know, you guys all wanted a contact, and I was like, how cool would it be to have this guy in a shop, like on this like really awkward corner of the street, and it's just this really weird shop that sells everything, and then an Eastern European man who's called Mr. Hung.
Yep.
And like everyone expects Mr. Hung to be, you know, like
yeah, I was like, he's Chinese, surely.
Yeah, or it's like some form of East Asian origination, and it's like no, he's just like some Polish dude or some you know, some Czechoslovakian person who's just like, hey, what's up, how's it going? Played Tremere, who was in hiding for the whole time. He's not actually German.
He wasn't German.
He's just drunk. I could understand. I could understand if you thought he was Scottish, because you know Scottish is just English infused with alcohol.
Mr. Hung, the Hungarian.
Hungarian. Wasn't
he was Ukrainian.
Yes, but it's also I think that was a vague guess. It's not a solid fact. So
Ukrainian-ish.
Always remember, in Sheepy's games, he will very often say, "You have heard this." It doesn't mean that's true.
Yeah.
What was the one recently where everyone was like, "Wait, what?" And of course it was the old guard.
Yeah.
You were all suspicious of them, but not. You know, it was like, oh yeah, they probably want to bring the Camarilla back and take everything over again.
It's like, that's what they told us. Of course, that's what they want to do.
Another one was Nathan Fortuna, where it's like, oh yeah, he loves humans and he you know, he's looking out for them. Technically true, but
yeah, looking out for them. Yeah, indeed. Interesting character. I look forward to the coming events.
Oh god,
because there's so much on the to-do list of like, there's just shit everywhere going on. You know, like there's so many problems.
Unreliable narrator is my favorite DMing style too. I wouldn't say unreliable narrator. I'd just say like if you ask something just because, like, you can you can do like an investigation, right, and ask a whole load of people and roll investigate, like to ask a whole load of people like what's going on. But if those people all believe one thing that's not true, you're gonna find something that's not true because that's what the people believe. And you know, I think one thing that can happen in more kind of focused, like I'm not gonna say railroad, but you know, like the more linear campaigns where the GM has an overarching storyline where it's like, this is where it's gonna go. That tends to be ignored or by necessity like left out because it doesn't really work. Whereas like in this, it makes it there's a lot more prep that goes into it at the beginning, but everything is sandbox. So
well, this still certainly requires more immersion because you have to think, what's this person thinking, and you have to put yourself in the situation a lot more, whereas the traditional tabletop, let's say, can be a lot more sort of like accessible, just sort of like, my player wants this, here's your candy. You know, it's two different styles, but this is immersion, sort of immersion centric in a good way.
Maybe that could be a bolo shirt. Someone just suggested a polo shirt, but the logo is a horse riding a man.
Right, yeah.
In my games, you guys are angels. Oh, Lopo or Pool, yeah. this is why people think the Monopoly man has a monocle. I thought I think there are some images of him having a monocle. I feel like.
Yeah, I thought there was. Maybe it's all lies.
I think there's maybe like a similar character.
Yeah, I think it's overlap with
other characters similar who do have monocles. But yeah, I could see why people would think that he has a monocle. That's so weird. I like it when investigation or judge intention rolls are done secretly by the GM, so you don't know if you rolled really high or really low after your character would not know. Yeah.
Yep.
So I have some ideas and plans for future campaigns and other things I'll GM, and one of my ideas is a game a bit like this. Like maybe it'll be VTM because VTM is very narrative, at least the way we're playing it. But just a game where there are no fucking rolls. You know, like everything comes down to if two players have a fight. They will be able to narrate it just based on their skills, you know.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd be curious for combat, but I'm sure you could do for a lot of it. You as a GM, you can basically do it on. I'm not just going to say the quality of the role play, but the appropriateness of the response to the question.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So if you really are persuasive, hey. But that's going to be really hard if you're not a persuasive person playing a really persuasive character.
Oh, so, yeah. And it'll be what it would be is it would be based on inherent stats and skills.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, there will obviously be roles. Like if it was VTM, there'd be like rouse rolls and power, discipline stuff. But like, you know, one of those things is like if you're if you're like a stealthy, sneaky boy, then a lot of the time you're just going to be ridiculously stealthy and sneaky. Like rolling for it is.
So unless you come across someone that's really perceptive.
Yeah, but it's an idea that would always be additional. So I'd want to do other campaign stuff at the same time because that's something that's more like only certain people will enjoy a narrative roleplay story with very few roles, like minimal roles and like basically no roles, because a lot of people want to see the roles and they want the challenge and the RNG of it all. Like it makes it a lot more dynamic.
Yep.
Although I think the narrative way would also be dynamic, just in a very different way. Or you could be like me in EE. You could just be falling over yourself to make your character lose the fight. I don't remember that happening with EE, but that might be in a different game that I wasn't in. Do we have any questions? Because I know, Hydra, you probably have to.
I am currently smelling fish fingers that are going to be very al dente, so I actually have to love and leave right now.
Oh, okay.
But is this going on YouTube?
Yeah, I'll probably put it on YouTube. Yeah.
So if there are any other questions, like for me, that you want that come to mind, just put them in the comments for the YouTube video, and then I'll get back. If not, Sheepy can probably fill you in on most of the character related stuff, because we talk about our characters lots because we like them and they're fun.
Yeah.
And so is Sunkist. And stay tuned. And I think there was one question a while ago on new character intro, and yes, it won't be within the Halloween stuff.
No, it'll be after that.
It'll be after. So you get to see Marlowe one or maybe twice more.
We'll probably do a snapshot intro as well, like we did for Nahari. I think that's a really good way to intro a new character coming into an established.
Yeah, it was nice seeing her coming. Damn, that would be like 5 Hydra snack shots.
Yeah, we've got like 3 in a row.
Yeah, and 3. Yeah, it feels like 5, but I think that's just because a couple of the sessions also had lots for Marlowe to say and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I have to go.
All right.
Take care.
I will get ready to adjust my thingy-jig. Oh. Oh, well, what I could do then is I could, Oh, no. Oh, right, yeah, I can do this. So if I do this, and then this, there you go. So you don't have to see Meridia's car. That's actually that's an old map of Weirgate, so ignore that. But so yes. Does anyone have any more queries or thoughts or wonders or anything along those lines? Really? I haven't got any in Discord. It isn't actual map sheet. I know. Although, like, yeah, it's the map from a while back. Some things have changed, it's true. Some things have changed. Wondering if the river ever floods. No. It would be a badly named city if Weirgate flooded. Will the new character be a surprise for the other players as well, or do they know? I think they know a little bit more than you guys, but not much. So it will be a surprise, yeah. Like a very little bit more than you guys, basically. I just told them a thing, pretty much. Will the one shot be on a full moon? Probably not. I don't think so. I don't think the moon phases are not important in Hallow-Kist. Sunween. It's not called Sunween. So did Shelby get back? Shelby, oof. You know what? I could actually roll for that. It won't take effect for a little while, but I rolled a D100 and I got a 32, so. So yeah, Shelby, where did Shelby end up anyway? Moonkissed and everybody is a werewolf. This is 32 years by Shelby. I mean, even 32 weeks means that we'd never see him again, because Sunkissed isn't, Sunkissed is, it'll be like 5 years real time before we get to 32 weeks of, even 32 days, God. So I have a real hankering to GM a werewolf show, like Werewolf the Apocalypse, and I have some interesting ideas for what I could do with that, so Moonkissed could be a thing. I have too many ideas. I have a notebook of ideas, and it's just stacking up with all these thoughts I have on like interesting shows to play, or do. So yeah. You need to calm down or figure out cloning. Well, there are some which are like side thoughts, and then there are some which are much more serious, kind of like, oh my god, what did you do? I want to do this. So yeah. Just looking at my ideas now. Oh god, that's so many pages. Oh, I had another VTM idea, by the way, Tash. How many days have actually passed in game in Sunkissed? No, it's more than a month. I think it's 2 months. I think it's coming on towards 3 months now. I don't know exactly. I don't have the exact like days and stuff or like to hand, but it's like sometimes the passage of time can be a bit subtle, and viewers don't always notice. Like there was one guy who was complaining that the factions set themselves up so quickly when Winnie burned and there was the Night of Fire, the Sunkissed event, like they ran away and then everyone like blah 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 blah. And the thing is about that is there a couple of days passed. They stayed there for a couple of days, and then they went back out. But the person who was complaining about that, I don't think heard that I said that, or like, you know, when you're watching a show like this, it's very common to like be doing other things or to step up and walk away, you know, and to miss a bit. So I think they just missed that bit and they didn't realize that a couple of days passed, and then when they came back out, the factions had started to form and things had happened. Yeah. Quite a lot has happened in that time. But, you know, it's 3 months. Like, quite often there's like a lead up of a few days of planning and then they do something and yeah. In a more meta sense, I try to not pass time too much, whereby it'd be like there's so much happening and there's so much going on, you don't want to get the feeling of like time slipping away from them, and it gives the chance for all the other factions to act so much. It's especially in this instance, like kindred politics is always going to be quite fast and quite turbulent with this kind of situation because they're all young kindred. You know, like none of them, aside from Vassia, are old, and Clay was a bit older than quite a few of them, than the majority of them. So you know, most of these kindred are like younger kindred, which is one of the reasons why my XP system is like 1 XP per episode, basically. Unless they do something massive, in which case they get 2. Because otherwise, if I was giving them XP out all the time, like heavy and all that kind of thing, then we'd have a situation where it's like they're like a year old and stronger than some like elder vampires. How close was Clay to burning? No, he wasn't really. How about I say Clay's story isn't completely done? So yeah, fair enough. Cass does not exist, only Clay. So yeah, any more questions, guys? Any more thunks or worries or wonders or things you'd like to know? More teasers? Does it torture viewers as well as the players week? I mean, you know, you guys need to get tortured as well, right? You're always saying I'm a horrible, evil person, so it just makes sense. Yeah. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. You guys were mentioning earlier about who you thought was gonna sire someone first. I thought it was because I know how things were going and etc. My thought was it was gonna be Tess. Vandy would do it first, but that's just because I thought the likelihood is that she'd break when she had the ultimatum with Nathan. But she didn't, and that surprised me a bit. I am wondering if Frank will go after Marlowe or stay in the city. He will go after Marlowe. No question. And that will basically, for now, that means that the Inquisition is not a threat or presence in Weirgate. So, Marlowe going basically means that for now at least, there's no severe risk or problem there. No more questions from me. I need to go exercise before it gets too late and neighbours complain about the cross-trainer noise or me talking again. Fair enough. Yeah, I think we'll have a few final questions and then we'll wrap up. Just because I don't want the Q&A to go too far, and I think people mostly wanted to talk about the Marlow or Mac Marlow ending, and a few other questions, obviously. I did wonder if he would use Weirgate as an excuse not to kill his grandkid. I mean, his excuse not to kill his grandkid was basically like, fucking run and be away from here so I can just chase you. And hopefully I won't catch you. I wonder if Tess will go after Marlowe. Maybe. I mean, how's she going to chase him? He's got a fast car. Okay. Who gets there first, Frank or Tess? Be an interesting stack shot, just like a car chase of Marlowe and Rose running away from Frank and Tess. Tess has assist who's fast in the car. I mean, if she rolls well, which she did, but yeah, if she rolls well. I like Leah. Leah's fun. She's difficult to play. Oh, one other thing I'll say, that it isn't given in a question, but one person I'm thinking about asking if he'd like to do a snack shot as a guest is Brad as Nathan Fortuna, because I can't think of anyone else who could play Nathan Fortuna. I need to think, because, you know, but I'd love to see Brad get his teeth into Nathan Fortuna. So and the other one is people requested like a side series, you know, like a spin-off show, like how the originals is a spin-off of the Vampire Diaries kind of thing, of Mac and Rose, and I was like, so I think it was Mark in the Discord says, can we get a spin-off show? I was like, what would it be called? Kiss for a Rose. So Nathan isn't Peachy, but you want Peachy's alter ego to play him? Brad isn't Peachy's alter ego. Okay, so yes, are there any other things to mention? Probably the Halloween episode will probably be one episode, but might be two. So just be prepared for a little hiatus from the regular Sunkissed, because we're going to play out the Halloween one shot, which might be a two shot, and could be a three shot, depending on how quickly they go. But it's not in the nature of Sunkissed to rush, so. And one other thing I'll say, as just because this is Sunkissed and it has kind of something to do with that, is I'm considering expanding how much roleplay I'm doing on my own channel as my own thing. I have to think about it seriously, because it's a big endeavor to take, like more stuff, and like I'm thinking maybe an extra show on Fridays, which will mean like I may have to rebrand. I may have to like set up a proper Patreon and proper ways to like support and take like Twitch subs and stuff like that seriously. So it's why I'm thinking about all that a bit more. But I've been really enjoying Sunkissed and GMing different shows, and I really want to come up with more shows and more interesting, like slightly different ideas and stuff, because, you know, even Sunkissed, like, kind of this kind of like setup for VTM is very atypical of VTM, I am aware. How would anyone find it? The classic. Is this new series or one shot? What do you mean, damned man? Hey, you say Sirius Sheepy never happens, but I've managed to put on Sunkissed for 33 episodes, which is a hell of a thing for me. So yeah, just wanted to give you oh, it's a joke question on Table Story. I haven't been on Table Story. For the longest time, I hadn't been on Roll For It either, and people were making... Does the joke now switch to I loved you on Table Story until I'm on there? But yeah, are there any more questions before I wrap up? I'll give you guys a couple of minutes, and then we'll wrap things up. Last call for any questions. Any questions? You don't have to ask questions here. Wait, no. It's you don't have to stop drinking, but you can't. What's that closing line from bar, like, pub owners? They're like, you don't have to stop drinking, but you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Thank you, Tash. I have a shitload of questions, but don't know what to ask first. I've had a lot of good ones, so I'm good. Okay. Well, you can always you know, wait for the next Q&A. But if you wanna shoot one off, Defiance, I can answer it before we close up. Oh. Just because we're getting close to the 1.5 hour mark, and I think you know, I don't want the Q&As to be I think they could very easily be as long as a regular episode. I'd say half of the episode is satisfactory to me. I don't like, hello and welcome to the Sunkissed Q&A, where it's just as long as a regular episode because people want to ask so many questions. I don't see any questions. So I'm going to do my outro, and if a question pops up, I'll try and answer it quickly and still do the outro. So, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this this little Q&A. I hope that wrapped up a few things for you. If you have questions you'd like answered, I will collect them in the Discord, in Sunkissed Spoilers. In the Discord, in Sunkissed Spoilers section, or on the video for this, put it in the comments, and I'll correlate them up, and then I'll chuck them all out with the next Q&A. So I'll have a list if you have any questions, if you have anything you want answered, and we'll do another Q&A probably maybe a few episodes into the new character with Hydra, because I think people will probably have questions by then, most likely. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and see you in the Halloween episode, probably.